Hello, I'm Valerie Priester, and this is the Business by Design podcast. Are you a woman entrepreneur who absolutely loves what you do and enjoy helping others, but for some reason, you can't seem to get out of your own way? You can't seem to get out of your head and really create the level of success that you desire? I get it. I truly understand. I've been there too. You see, I spent years searching for, what do they call it? The holy grail, the secret sauce, right? To success. And what I learned along the way is all of the women that I knew that were very successful had one thing in common, and that was their way of thinking. Now, I know you may be saying it can't be that simple, can't be that easy, right? But the truth is, the number one key or secret, however you want to label it, to success is your way of thinking. It's your mindset. It's what you believe and what you think is possible for you. And so that's exactly why I created this podcast. I want to help you get out of your head, get out of your own way. I want to help you get into more profits, more passion, and more power. I want to help you to shift away from old beliefs and release old ways of thinking, self-sabotaging conversations, and help you shift into new beliefs that support your goals and bring lasting success. I want to help you design your victory so you can create the business and life that you desire. So if you're ready for some real talk about how to do that, if you're ready to really make the shift and move into greater possibilities and greater success, you're in the right place. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Business by Design. It's Valerie, your host, and I am super excited to be here with a guest today. As you all know, I've just started to add guests to the podcast because I feel like you may want to hear someone else's voice other than mine from time to time. So today I have the pleasure and the honor of joining with Jeanette Lowry, who is a seasoned transformational coach specializing in residual wealth and well-being. With over 3 decades of experience, she has empowered networks of entrepreneurs to leverage collective buying power, build global communities, and achieve both financial independence and time freedom. Oh boy, I love that. Through her signature Pivot, which I love that name, Pivot Training,
Yep.
Jeanette provides women with a step-by-step roadmap to launch successful e-commerce businesses in the well-being and beauty space. Her passion lies in helping women reclaim their time, create legacy businesses, and step into leadership with confidence. Welcome, Jeanette.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Nice to talk to you finally, Valerie. We find out we
Absolutely.
have a lot in common too. Wow.
Yes, we do, right?
So
It's something to
great.
be said
Yes,
about connecting online, right? But
absolutely. You got it.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And as you've learned, I love real connections, right? So I am all about like, let's get to know each other, let's support each other and really occupy some same space together, right? I love
Absolutely.
that. I love that. So Jeanette, tell us a little bit more about you and what you've been doing.
Well, I'm a 64-year young
Yay.
grandmother of 2 granddaughters, Ivy and Piper. They're 3 and almost 10 months. And I have 2 adult kids, 36 and 29, Brian and Lexi. And I'm loving this stage of life. I grew up in a family of 6 kids, and I was the eldest daughter. My brother, born 1 year ahead of me, was born with some mental challenges. So mom and dad were pretty focused in on him, which had me just become a little mini mom at an early age.
Yeah.
And I've heard this from a lot of women I talk to. Oh my gosh, that was me. So my PE coach in grade school asked 3 of us if we wanted to stay after school and tumble.
Ah.
And I said, yeah, I'm in. This is like 3rd grade. So we started tumbling. One thing led to another. The National Academy of Artistic Gymnastics opened in Eugene, Oregon. It was an Olympic training center. And started doing classes. One thing led to another. I find myself in the gym 7 hours a day training with the
Whoa.
elite team. So I I did gymnastics through college. Let's just say that as a collegiate
Nice.
athlete. So my whole life has been around, being, doing, and doing it healthy, doing it clean, and health from the inside out.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Oh wow. And we're even in the same generation.
I know. So
I,
great.
I, I tell you, when I turned 65 last year, so I'll be 66 this year, and it's a
Okay,
different world. It's a
it
great
is.
world,
Well,
but it's a different world.
it's a relearn your world. When I came out of retirement in 2018, it was like, wow, I need to hire coaches to learn how to get on social media, for heaven's sakes.
Exactly. Because this is a different animal for us, right?
Oh boy.
But you've done well.
Automation
You've done well.
technology, love, love,
Oh
love.
yes. Oh yes. But you have done absolutely well. I love that. I was reading a little bit of your story about your dad who was in insurance.
Well,
Wow.
his father was also, he started in whole life insurance at the
Oh, I
time.
remember those days.
So
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, or social workers or teachers, that was my family
That's
dynamic. But when
yeah.
dad started, I was young, 3, 4 years old. And when I got to the age of 9, I had seen our lifestyle kind of flip flop. He was never home. So mom was
Yeah.
raising 6 kids as a single mom because he was building business. And the bottom line is, I would go in on Saturdays and help shred paper and
Right,
do
right, right.
filing. But I said, Dad, I just want to ask you this. I was 9 at the time. How come you have more time now to like take us water skiing and camping?
Right.
And so he sat me down and he talked about linear income. Like
Yeah.
most of his friends worked for another company, 9 to 5, punch the
Right.
time clock, make the owner of that company wealthy. Or
Right.
you can be in business for yourself and create time for money income or a leveraged income.
Right.
So his insurance just spawned off associations, medical associations, auto associations. So he was like a Pied Piper in that arena when he
Right.
started. And I knew at age 9, I had to do this kind of business, not
Yeah.
insurance. That wasn't
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
gig, but that's really
Love
where that, yeah, that golden nugget came, and I've lived
it.
through it. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And you've been at this for a while, so apparently it
yes,
works well and you love what you do, right?
I love what I do. It was an accidental, I call myself an accidental entrepreneur
Right.
because coming back from Michigan, where you said your husband is from,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
my former spouse played for Detroit Lions, so he played
Mm,
for 7 years in the NFL.
okay.
And I wasn't one of those kind of wives that could just sit home, wait, and put that mink fur on the next day. Didn't even
Yeah.
own one. But
Yeah.
I taught kids classes, adult fitness classes, weight wellness, for $10 an hour, whatever it was.
Right.
And
Right.
people would just make fun of me like, what are you doing? You don't have to work. And I'm like, I have to work.
Work. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Have to
something
work.
in you.
Yeah.
So in 1990, we came back to Oregon. I had a 2-year-old son at the time, and a girlfriend called me and said, Jeanette, I know you've always complained about your skin. Try these products. You're going to love them. And I said, well, can I buy them from Nordstrom's? Where can I get them? She's like, nope, they're not retail products. And I went,
Right.
okay, that was my first introduction to direct sales.
Uh,
And I built this company for 7 years and find out it's network marketing after my check went to $10,000 a month.
right.
Didn't know that for the first 3 years,
Yeah.
but so an accidental entrepreneur, which allowed me when my husband came and said he wanted out of the marriage after 16 years, it
Right.
allowed me to be home with both of my kids
Right.
and raise them for the next 20 years because of this leveraged income.
Hmm.
So I'm just really passionate about helping moms or mid-aged women either set their retirement plans up so they can exit, or young moms come home and be with the kids who need them.
Yeah, that's so important. So very important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I've always known that I was meant to be an entrepreneur, a business owner,
Isn't
and
that
not
so great? I
on
love
someone
that,
else's
Valerie.
clock. Yeah.
Yes, same here.
And again,
nothing wrong with that because not everyone
No,
can be in this space,
no,
right? And not everyone even
absolutely.
wants to be in this space. So absolutely nothing wrong with having jobs and, working corporate careers and all
Absolutely.
of that. Did that for
Hey, it makes the
years.
world go round, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did it for
Yeah, yeah,
years.
yeah.
Look, did it
Mm.
long enough to know that's not what I want to do.
That's I could never be confined to four walls
No.
and, a lunch break when they told me to, and I could never be comfortable with somebody telling me how much I was worth.
Worth, yeah. And how much I could
And
earn and yeah,
yes,
none of that. None of that.
absolutely. So,
None of that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely some of the same reasons I came out of that world is because I wanted to. We all say we want to own our own time, right? That's the first thing. We
Right.
want to own our own time. I want to be my own boss and all of this stuff. But what I
Right.
learned shortly after getting into entrepreneurship is that I work way harder for myself than I do for
Yeah.
anyone else, right? And
Well,
it's
that's one thing I teach, Valerie, is direct, working for a paycheck, like exchanging time for money
right,
versus leveraged income, where there's
exactly.
a lot of people doing similar things. You pull it together and
Yeah,
one
yeah,
turns into 10, turns into 100. So
yeah,
it's very different. But I talk to a lot of small business owners, and that's
yeah.
what they say 16-hour days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Not anymore. That was in the beginning. That was in the beginning, but
Smart
not
girl,
anymore.
you
Yeah,
learned.
not anymore. No, one of the biggest things that I have learned over the years is I don't buy into the hustle and grind. That's not the life I ever want to live. And certainly being at this stage in my life, it's
Mhm.
not about work is everything because it's not. For me, it's more
No,
about my life is everything, and then work kind of fits in there. But
absolutely.
here's the other key: is that I love, 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 love what I do, so it never feels like work,
You
right?
know what? I'm so glad you said that because people say, "Why are you working?" I'll be
Yeah,
65 in April. Why are you working? You've been
yeah.
retired for
I love
20
what I
plus
do.
years. I said, because when you have something in your soul that is just burning. And when
Burning.
COVID hit, that was my aha moment.
Yeah,
Jeanette, get your butt out of retirement because
yeah,
you have way too much to offer these women who are
yeah.
now, doing their business from home. They're
Exactly,
telecommuting because we all were
exactly.
locked down, and
Mhm.
they were seeing what their kids were learning in
Right,
school.
right. Yeah,
Like I said, I come from a family of teachers,
yeah,
and I was horrified. I knew what was going on for 10 years before anybody else did.
yeah.
And it just broke my heart. And it's like, you know what? So I took 3 years or so, hired coaches to understand the new economy, the new environment,
Mhm,
build my
mhm,
platform,
mhm.
continue personal growth, which I've done, lifetime
Have to.
learner, as I
Yeah,
call myself. So
yeah,
I had kept up with all that during retirement and taught
yeah,
fitness classes for
yeah.
18 years in
Oh my
between.
goodness.
So,
I love
yeah.
it. I love it. Wow. So let's talk a little bit about the whole paradigms that keep most women stuck and keep them from moving
Mm.
forward and standing in their own way and all the things that
Yes.
happen. Like how do you see that happening?
Well, the thing I start out with is there's a lot of adult women that have heard of paradigms, but they really don't know what the intricacies are and the depth of it and how much
Right.
profoundly affects our reinventing ourselves for future. A
Hmm.
paradigm is a belief, a habit, something that I say we were brainwashed by our
Right.
parents, okay? We
Right.
were indoctrinated with their beliefs, their habits, their patterns,
So true.
everything that they did. That's what they learned from their generation.
Exactly.
So, when we get older, by 7, we pretty much have these paradigms ingrained and they're working in our brains unconsciously. They're just
Yes.
back there, just doing their thing, kind of like
Mhm.
riding a bike or driving a car. You don't think through all the features of riding a bike, like put that left foot forward and pedal,
Right.
release the right leg,
Mhm.
balance up. You don't do that. It's just
Mhm.
automatic pilot. So
Yes.
as we start adulting, as I call it, we start noticing things. If you're really in tune and you're asking the questions, why
Mhm.
oh my gosh, that's what my mother used to do, or that's what
Mhm.
my dad used to say. And
Mhm.
they're things that you say like, oh, I wish I wasn't doing this. I wish I wasn't saying this. I wish I wasn't being this. That's when you can make changes, is when you come to that, division. And that division is finding a coach, an expert, somebody like you who teaches this stuff.
Right.
And then you can begin unpacking it, find out the reason behind it, and then put some new information into that brain, into the gray matter. 30 days to establish a pattern, 90 days to make it a habit.
Yeah.
So, I've got some worksheets, and I'll send you some freebies for your audience to download, just to get some pattern recognition and
Exactly.
creating new ways of
Yeah.
being sane, thinking, because the first thing is recognizing it, period.
Awareness.
Otherwise, it's a ball and chain around your ankle that you're just bringing into the future and lugging all this garbage that you really don't believe in anymore, or that's not who I want to be, things like that.
Yeah. And oftentimes sometimes we recognize like when that's happening. Like I remember like my first true awakening of, this is not really what I believe. Right.
So good.
And it came from recognizing some of the things that I was saying that my parents said or my grandparents said. And then it's almost like a light bulb went off, like, well, why is that?
Right.
Why does it have to be that way? Like, is that really true?
So
and for
good.
me, that's what started my journey of digging into, well, let me
So
look at all this
good.
other stuff that I've been told, or all the other things that I've heard them say,
Right.
and see how that feels to me. And for the most part, it just didn't resonate with me anymore.
Exactly.
And it wasn't my beliefs. And I was like, wow, so I'm carrying someone else's beliefs.
Yes.
And that started
our brain doesn't know if we're telling him a lie or truth.
Exactly.
So that is a huge distinction, that when people understand that, it's like, wow. I mean, here's a great example. Roast beef. Cooking roast beef Sunday night dinner. Oh, that's what my mom did. That's what her mom did. That's what her mom did. Why do you cut off the ends of that roast beef, Mom? Because that's the way my mom did it and her mom did it. Okay. So Granny, reading her book of, her life, it's like, why did she cut off the ends of the roast beef? Because she didn't have a pan that fit the roast beef. So she had to always cut off the butt ends of that roast beef to fit into the pan she had. So it's like,
you thought it was a cooking thing.
Yes, didn't know that was a pan restriction. Thought it was like, it made it better. So I know that's a great example, though,
because a great example.
Because that is a paradigm that you bought into. Don't know why, not questioning it. It's just the way things are done.
The way it is. Oh my God, that reminds me of my granddaughter and I. She doesn't particularly care for spaghetti.
Okay.
Because my grandmother, that was like one of her favorite things to cook. She loved cooking spaghetti, and it was great. Yeah. Well, the bay leaf?
Yes.
Well, my grandmother always just left the bay leaf in.
Left it in.
You happen to get the bay leaf, you bite this hard thing. You're like, what the hell is this?
Oh, God.
And so for that very reason, my granddaughter's like, I'll eat spaghetti, but I just really don't care for it because I don't want that bay leaf thing.
That is so funny.
And of course, as I learned how to cook from grandmother, the bay leaf was in there, but I would always take mine out. Oh my God, that's a good story. It really is. But you are absolutely right in the paradigms and in the things that we are told or taught, right?
And observe.
Or observe. Right.
Yeah.
Experienced even, right?
Absolutely.
And certainly not, the thing I had to learn most too was that not that they taught us these things to be harmful. They actually taught us these things because they thought they were healthy, right?
Absolutely. Our parents did the best they could with what they knew.
Yes, absolutely. I say that all the time. I always say that we make decisions based on the knowledge we have in the moment.
At the time, absolutely.
Always the best decision in that moment, right?
Yes.
With the knowledge that we have. And it's so amazing to me how I run into not only women, but my audience is mainly women, but I run into women who are still carrying things from childhood or from, the past that parents have said or other authority figures have said or someone has said, and they're still carrying it in a way that there's anger attached to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And carrying in a way that they feel like they need an apology from that person, or they need that person to acknowledge how they made them feel. And one of the biggest things I always say is that person did the best they could with the knowledge they had.
Absolutely.
right?
Because guess
And
what, Mama? It's going to be said by your children too.
absolutely,
And it
oh my
is.
goodness,
Like, Mom, that's how you raised me. It's like, oh my God, I did.
yes, yes. And why? Because there's no manual for this. We just follow what
Mm-mm.
we were taught,
Absolutely.
right? And we
Absolutely.
make the best decisions with the knowledge we have in the moment.
And that's why, as when we start adulting, it's about surrounding yourself with 5 to 10 people who are elevated higher than you are on that frequency vibe or that
Yes,
business vibe or that
yes,
learning vibe,
yes,
because you become, pretty equivalent for life to the
yeah.
3 people that you hang out with
That you hang out with
most.
the most. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
And it's so possible to shift what we think and what we believe when we start to input different knowledge
Different
as
input.
opposed to holding on
Yes.
to the stuff that's from the past, right?
Yes. And
And
there's some great paradigms that you might be living with. Like, I
right,
loved my mom's holiday traditions. She
right.
dressed us the same, and, green dress, pink dress, yellow dress,
Yeah,
all of us girls, we had our
yeah.
Easter dresses and our Christmas.
Yes.
I mean, I love that stuff. And I've
Yeah,
continued that.
yeah.
But there's some paradigms that just are going to just keep you angry,
Oh
keep you
yeah.
bitter, and
Yeah.
keep you stuck.
Hmm, hmm.
And those are the ones you want to nip in the bud, recognize first, nip in the bud, create a new paradigm path so that
Yes.
the pathways in the brain
Brain
can
can
start
change.
rewinding and re-putting in new information.
Absolutely. But
Hmm.
so many people feel like, and you've heard this, I know, a gazillion times. So many people feel like this is just the way I am. And man,
Yes.
when I hear that, it like just it burns on the inside of me because I'm like, no, it's not the way you are. It's
But you
the
know
way
what? Think
that
about
you
when
have.
we discovered this, Valerie. We were the same way. It was
I
just like
know.
there's just this issue going on in your body. It's like lightning or fire or something. And it's just like, oh, but
Yeah.
you're exactly right. Well, this is just the way I am. All
Yeah.
my family had weight problems, especially around weight and money. Those are the two things
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
find working with women. Those are the
Those are
two
the things.
biggies.
Yeah.
And everybody's got 20, 30 extra pounds on them. Everybody's a diabetic, everybody's this, everybody's that. So what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what?
So what? And my
Is
thing has
that what
always
you want
been
your life to be? Fine, jump into that
exactly
pool.
right.
But have you seen their second half of life
Yeah.
become active and alive and thriving? Or are they med ridden? Big
Exactly.
pharma has taken over their
Exactly.
life and they're very restricted in what they can do. Is
Yeah.
that how you want to live your
Is that
second
what you
half of
want?
life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I always say that because I hear, again, like you said, this is what has happened in my family, but that does not mean it has to be your reality, right? It never has to
Absolutely.
be your reality. I am just so grateful that I did have the awakening when I did. I know it
Hmm.
comes for people at the right time, divine timing. And
Yes.
I'm grateful that I had it when I did because it really freed me from a lot of the things that were holding me
Oh,
bondage. And they were all tied to beliefs. They were all tied to the
yes.
paradigms, right? And when I really broke free from a lot of those things, it helped me to not only succeed farther in my business, but certainly to have a more victorious life.
Absolutely.
Changed
Because you can
everything.
start with a blank slate.
Yes.
That blank slate is such a profound vision, imagination, vision. Put that vision board in front of you and it's blank,
Yeah.
and you get to
You get to
create
fill it
the
in.
future. Yes. You
Yes.
get to
Oh my goodness.
create your pictures. You create your own pictures of what 5 years is going to look like, 1 year
Right.
is going to look like. I
Right.
always envisioned myself being a grandmother, but I was worried because my daughter was like, don't know if we want kids. And then all of a sudden she's pregnant. It's like, yes.
Right.
And now we have two granddaughters. But,
Oh yeah.
you
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's,
And
it's,
grandparenthood is the best, right?
oh my, I said, if I could have done grandparenting first,
I would
I
have
would have
done.
taken
I
that
say
road.
the same thing. I really do. I really do. And we have 6 grandchildren and
Wow.
4 great grands.
Oh my gosh,
So
congratulations.
yeah. So
Wow.
our oldest grandson, bless his heart, he has 4 daughters. So pray
Oh,
for him.
yes, no kidding. That's a lot of hormones in one
A
house.
lot of women. So yeah, but I love this phase of life because it allows me to just be who I am, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I love being in the grandparent role because
Hmm.
not only can I help teach and inspire and encourage them,
Yes.
right? But I can give that grandmother love, and I love that part. So
The
I love
nuggets.
that part.
Yes. The
So
wisdom, instilling wisdom.
yes, yes. So when you work with women and you recognize like the things that they come up against that's holding them back, those paradigms that are holding them back,
Hmm?
what has been like one of the biggest things that you've noticed in women that keeps us really in a place of being stuck?
That's a great question, Valerie. Asking more questions and really digging deep into peeling that onion back is really important because they might say, oh, it's my weight issue. Well, why is weight an issue for you? What about having 30 extra pounds on you is the issue? Peeling it back. Well, I don't fit in my clothes anymore. Well, what is it about not fitting in your clothes anymore that has you angry or pissed off
Right.
or hating your family that they gave you these genes? It's always a blame game at first
Hmm. Hmm.
until that personal responsibility hits and you go, oh my gosh, I have choices. So
So
it's peeling the onion and really getting clear because usually the surface reason is not
it's not the reason. Yeah.
what they need to be looking at. Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. And have you found that, like, this is one of the things I found to be true as well, is wwhatever we're dealing with on our personal side, right? It carries over into our business. It shows up one
Oh,
way or another in our,
100%.
yeah.
100%, because you don't separate your persona from home to work or
Right.
even friendship circles. You don't. It
Exactly.
you That's part of who you are.
Right.
And it does. You might have a boss that you had males in your family that were always right and women were, you need to be quiet. And if you have a boss like that and you're not that type of woman, you're like, okay, I have a voice. You're going to be going off on this boss.
Right.
You can't do that if you want to keep a job, right? But I don't like the chameleon role, being a chameleon and kind of just morphing in and out. Find something that fits who you are or make some changes of those paradigms that are keeping you stuck. If you
Right.
always butt up against the same problem, that's probably a good clue to
Hmm.
start digging deep.
Hmm. Hmm. That is so
So,
very true. That is so very true. And if you find that um you attract the same types of relationships, even
absolutely.
there's paradigm
Yep.
there.
Well, we can read about that with, abuse and,
Yeah.
um, alcoholism, drugs, whatever.
Yeah.
You do because that's what you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you don't know any better. So it's what you don't know, you don't know. I love starting at that place.
Right.
So,
That's
can
so
I
good.
ask you a question? Do you
Sure.
believe that there's some things that you don't know, or things that you don't know? Are there things you don't know, or are there things you don't know that you don't know?
I feel like they're
That's
both
the
can be
basement.
true, right?
Yes, that don't know is the basement. And that's where
Right.
you find those people that have been schooled in, trained in,
Hmm.
lived in. I
Yep.
don't like coaches that are just book coaches. They've
Yeah.
read it and they've got a degree. I've lived
Experience.
34 years of
Hmm.
personal growth training,
Yes. Yeah.
always looking into bettering myself, bettering the people around me because I make changes. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think those are the individuals that make better coaches. Like I feel like every coach has something
absolutely.
to offer, right?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel like coaches that have experienced life and
Yes.
have gone through the things that they help other women with make
Hmm.
better coaches because they first they can understand and resonate with what the other person's feeling,
Absolutely. That's the
right?
key to being a coach. You
Yeah.
have got to be able to identify, and
Yeah.
it has to be deep in your soul, that
Exactly.
identification. Hmm.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And so I firmly believe, and I always believe that there's no way that I could know everything. So certainly there's things I don't
No,
know,
of course not.
right?
Which
And
is
I'm
why we
forever
are
learning.
lifetime learners. That's
I
why
am
you're a lifetime
absolutely
learner. I'm a lifetime learner.
right.
If I hear something on a podcast or I see something on LinkedIn or whatever, I go dig in and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
find, and then I
yeah,
go a little deeper and go, wow, that is
yeah.
so good. See, that was
Yeah.
something I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I think too, because to be in this industry, I believe that there has to be a certain calling, if you will, and
Yes.
innately we have some of these things already within us.
Yes.
And I feel like there's an enlightening that we have that maybe others don't have yet. They can get, but they don't have
Absolutely.
it yet, right?
Or they haven't
And
discovered theirs
they
yet.
haven't
Because I
discovered it
believe
yet.
God has implanted in all of us a unique
Absolutely.
DNA that we
Absolutely.
have, that he gifted us with.
Right.
It's just unburying it, finding it, and then using it for good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They haven't discovered it yet. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I was just talking with my technical person in on my team, and we were talking. I asked her what was her favorite book that helped her to stay in entrepreneurship for over 20 years.
Mm.
And she said it was Think and Grow Rich.
That was the
And
very
I said,
first book I ever read.
"Is it? Is it?" And so here's a real transparent moment for me. Um, I have tried to read it several times, right?
Audiobook.
I found that it's better if I listen to it. It
Yeah.
is. But here's what I believe. Now, this is my belief. I certainly understand everything in it. I get it. And I think because of how I'm wired,
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes a bit boring for me. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, I get that. I know that, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't always finding nuggets to help keep drawing
Right.
me in and pulling me
Right. Right. Right.
forward, right? And I thought I was beginning to think like, well, crap, what's wrong with me? Everybody else loves this book. What the hell's wrong with me? So she said to me, she said, well, it's because that's how you already think. And I was
Yes.
like, oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
Now,
Yes. Yes.
not that I can't learn from it, because that's why I keep going back and
Right.
still listening to it and
Me
here, because there
too.
are
Yeah.
things that I
Absolutely.
hear that remind me, like, oh yeah, that's definitely a shift that we need to make in our mindset or whatever. But
Right.
it just amazes me how people say, I love that book. I was like, okay, I'm still
Well,
trying to deal with it.
Robert Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he wrote Business for the 21st Century. And he lays out the cash flow quadrant, which
Right.
is people work on the left side, which
Yeah.
is exchanging time for money. On the right side is where the wealth is created, but only 1% of people work on that leveraged income side. I understood that
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
age 9. I didn't
Yeah.
know the words around it and stuff,
Right.
but
But
I
you
lived
understood
in
the
our
concept.
home
Hmm.
that leveraged lifestyle. Yes,
Absolutely.
leveraging. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Makes a difference. So
it does.
so what would be like your biggest advice that you would give to women who are just stuck? They're holding themselves back in the paradigm. And not necessarily advice, but how can they begin to recognize
Uh,
that they're holding on to these paradigms?
well, I'm going to send you a freebie.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
it's really about restating and recognizing your paradigms that are keeping you stuck. It's a great little workbook, and
Mhm.
it gives you some assignments.
Okay,
The
good.
teacher
Good.
in me from my
Yeah.
family. Um, I love teaching. I love instilling information, and I love for people to go do their own due diligence based on what I've told them, because that way they own it. So, yeah, I've got a great lead magnet that I will send, and have your audience do it. First thing I say to do is go tell your family you're going to take the next 1 day or 48 hours to yourself. Go somewhere quiet, to the beach, wherever you can think without being distracted, and just do brain dumps in a journal. Just start writing. And this workbook can give you some assistance in thinking about what to write, etc. Then you can find those 2 or 3 paradigms that are just, they're keeping you stuck. You
Right.
hate corporate America. You want out. You want to do your own thing. You want that time. And you are so scared to take that next step. Those paradigms will assist you in creating new patterns, writing them down, talking them out, catching yourself if you start hearing your mother's voice or your little girl voice saying, you'll never be successful. Your whole family, they were blue collar workers. What makes you think you can be an entrepreneur? You have to do something that physically awakens your brain, like slap your hand or say, cancel. That was my thing. Or have a rubber band on the wrist and snap it. So something that physically interrupts that pattern. And then you can start with reestablishing what you want to feed that pattern into by saying it, by writing it, thinking it. So it's one of those things where you might be snapping that rubber band like every 2 minutes during the day and keeping track of that. But those are some nuggets that they'll get from the freebie. So
thank you. So I was going to ask you what your favorite book is, but I think I know.
First one I ever read, Think and Grow Rich. You know, I've got a lot of them with part of my training. I think I've got a 2-page list of single-lined books that I would recommend.
Good. And certainly Robert Kiyosaki's book, for real.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah.
Certainly. So, Jeanette, how can our audience connect with you?
It's my name, JeanetteLowry.com is my website, and you can just find out those paradigms first that are keeping you stuck. Go through the workbook and really be honest with yourself. If you're looking for health changes or wealth changes, that's what my signature pivot program is all about. And I do workshops and seminars and boot camps and things like that. So you can find that out on my website.
Awesome. Well, I am actually sometime in the future, it's on the top of my mind. I used to do women's retreats, of course, before COVID, and haven't gotten back to them yet. But I'm sometime in the future, I'm thinking I'm going to do that. And
put me on your list.
Yeah.
Yes, we should. Absolutely.
Well, It has been my pleasure, Jeanette, having this conversation with you. And I do hope that you'll come back again and we can dig a little bit deeper and have some real conversation around these whole paradigms and helping the audience. But you share some amazing information. Looking forward to your freebie that you're going to share with us as well. Thank you for that.
Well, you are a gem to your audience because I can tell you are passionate about what you share and you're very knowledgeable. So your audience is very blessed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, thank you for listening. And remember, until next time, designing your victory is a choice. And you get to start today. And how about starting by shifting those paradigms so you can move forward? We'll see you next time.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Business by Design podcast. If you love what you're hearing each week, let me know by leaving a rating and a review. And don't forget to follow the show so you don't miss out on proven mindset techniques, strategies, and tools to help you design your victory and create the business and life you desire. Also, if you're ready to talk about the business and life that you really want, head on over to valeriepriester.com and schedule your private business breakthrough clarity call. Until next week, remember, designing your victory is a choice. Start today.